The veritable data in Paul's perfection epistles Here we look at Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians. We notice the theme of these three letters and the kindness of Paul to customize each letter to each of the ecclesias. To be writing the same thing to you is not indeed irksome for me, yet it is your security. Philippians 3:1. Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians are three powerful letters of Paul, dear friend, and I suspect we should memorize them as soon as possible. When Paul's career first got started, God had revealed a few things to him, but not everything. His early letters still had elements of this circumcision evangel, lots of references to all things Israel. But by the time Paul was in prison, God had revealed to him so much more. God has revealed to him much more, so much more. In Colossians 1:25, it says, God gave it to him to complete the word of God. Ain't that something? Decades ago, I used to worry a bit about the Bible was missing some parts. Decades ago, I used to worry a bit that the Bible was missing some parts. I mean, we know from internal evidence that there was at least one letter to the Corinthians that we don't have today. And we know that Paul wrote a letter to the ecclesia in Laodicea that we don't have today. If only we had the missing letters, we'd know everything, was what I was thinking. But I no longer feel that way. These days I'm thrilled with the letters we have and am convinced that we need nothing else. After all, it was given to Paul to complete the Word of God. Let's change that to bold. And these days I'm thinking that Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians is a perfect completion to the Word of God. In these letters, we have information that is oh so satisfying. In these three letters, we have the secret, King James Version mystery. In these three letters, we have the greatest of all biblical prophecies, prophecies that go far beyond anything you'll find in Daniel, Isaiah, or the venerated book of Revelation. And check this out. If you overlay Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians, you'll find that Paul has settled down finally to a core doctrine that is perfect and complete. Thus, in Philippians 3:1, Paul says, to write the same thing to you is not indeed irksome for me, yet it is your security. The reason I bring all this parallelism between the three letters is not to point out the obvious, but to point out the veritable data in Paul's so-called perfection epistles. In the direct mail universe, it was discovered that if you insert a fellow's name in the letter or document instead of saying dear friend, you get a better, more profitable response to your selling message. Dear friend is generic. Dear Fred is specific. The most glorious information in Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians overlaps perfectly. But the variable data in each of these three letters shows a lot of love and personal attention. In Colossians, we have the veritable data of Onesimus, Aristarchus, Mark, cousin of Barnabas, a fellow named Jesus Justus, Epaphras, Luke, the brethren in Laodicea, Nympha, Archippus, etc. In Ephesians, we have the veritable data of Paul's chains and a beloved brother named Tychicus, who Paul intends to, should that be whom Paul? Yeah, I think so. Whom Paul intends to send to them, whom Paul intends to send to them to bring them up to speed, comma. In Philippians, we have the veritable data of how those saints should deal with the enemies of the cross, whom I call the James gang. They are the guys who, in chapter 1, are preaching Christ because of envy and strife. Philippians 1:15 and 17. They preach in pretense, verse 18. and they are opposing in anything and everything, verse 28. And in chapter 2, verse 21, they are seeking that which is their own and not that which is Christ's. All right, I think I'm up to speed. Now let's see if I can finish this thing. Okay. Click, click, click. Okay, by the way, give me a sound check now. Feel free to come in. Sound check. Because the last time we were together, the sound was choppy. Halcyon, can you come in now? Let's see. Yes, I've got the thing pinned. And I think I finished the essay so we can read it and see if it flows properly with less, what you call it, problematic spelling errors and such. Brad says, sounds good. Mic might be a different mic. No, it's the same mic. Testing, testing, testing. So the audio should be good. Brad, does it sound good, or are you saying it doesn't sound good? Because your sentence could go either way. Anar says sounds fine. Okay. Anar, you want to come in and read? Double O, Govan Double O. Nice to see you. Crystal clear. Cool. Ooh, can you hear that? Okay, so far Halcyon has said she'll come in, and we're waiting for her to click through. Look, she's here. Lord have mercy. Hello. Halcyon.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm glad you came in so I can readjust my mic so it would be going into the ears. Okay, got it.
Cool. Yeah, sorry it took a little longer than normal. I had to do something earlier when we were having that audio problem that made
Yeah.
me have to re-sign into everything, including StreamYard here on online. So it took an extra
Uh-huh.
minute. Yeah.
Okay, well, so far it seems to be groovy.
Cool. Good. You want me to? How much more did you write to this?
Oh, just closing thoughts and closing paragraphs. That's all.
Cool. Do I have
So it
time to
should
grab my coffee?
coffee. You
Yes,
said coffee.
coffee.
How dare you?
Is that a bad word?
I need coffee all the time.
I do need coffee today, right now, anyway. All right, so I'm going to go grab it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Welcome, boys and girls. It's 24 minutes past the top of the hour here in the Salt Lake Valley, about 600 miles from the Pacific Ocean. Yeah, got some Mormons around here. Surprise. Um, there's some ski areas here, hiking trails, fishing, nightclubs, movie theaters, and the usual strip malls that were popular back in the 80s, but they're torn down now. How about that? In the Salt Lake Valley, we've got quite a bit of industry as well, some manufacturing going on. This seems to be the Utah Valley, I mean, the Salt Lake Valley seems to be a hub of multi-level marketing outfits. I think there might be 10 or 20 of them here in the valley, headquartered here. So, but when I first moved to here into Salt Lake Valley in the 90s, I thought it would be a real holy place because the Mormons are dominant. And so imagine my surprise when I cracked open the newspaper and they had just as much trouble with gangs and robbery and stealing and theft and murder as any other big city. So the Mormons have been somewhat influential, but not really. Double O says, how are Mormon dad, conservative cop, family immersed in traditional Utah stuff? No doubt, including guns and meth. I don't know. So I think one answer that we can pull out is that Paul says that the flesh is not able to please God. So no matter who's preaching morals and ethics, and the Mormon church certainly does preach morals and ethics. They're not a bastion of morals and ethics. They have a lot of shenanigans going on here in the Salt Lake Valley. It's not uncommon to read of some Mormon muckety muck getting involved in embezzling and financial crime and going to jail. So there, they don't have any more success in preaching morals and ethics than any other preacher does, because Paul says in Romans 7 and 8 that the flesh is not able to please God, just flat out not able to please God.
Howdy, I'm back.
Hello.
Hello. All right. So are we going to do this thing?
Yeah, let's read the whole thing.
Okay. The veritable data in Paul's perfection epistles. Is it too noisy on my side over there?
No, it sounds just fine, but I love the word veritable data because nobody uses it. So it makes me sound special just because I can use a fancy word.
It's a $5 word right there.
Veritable. 4 syllables? Cool.
All right. Here we look at Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians, and we notice the theme of the 3 letters and the kindness of Paul to customize each letter to each of the ecclesias. To be writing the same to you is not indeed irksome for me, yet it is your security. Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians are 3 powerful letters of Paul, dear friend, and I suspect we should memorize them as soon as possible. When Paul's career first got started, God had revealed a few things to him, but not everything. His early letters still had in them elements of the circumcision evangel, lots of reference to all things Israel, but by the time Paul was in prison, God had revealed to him much more, so much more. In Colossians 1:25, it says that God had given it to him to complete the word of God. Ain't that something? Decades ago, I used to worry a bit that the Bible was missing some parts. I mean, we know from internal evidence that there was at least one letter to the Corinthians that we don't have today. And we don't know that Paul wrote a letter to the ecclesia in Laodicea. Is that how that is?
Laodicea.
Laodicea. That we don't have today. If we only had the missing letters, we'd know everything, was what I was thinking. But I no longer feel that way. These days, I'm thrilled with the letters we have, and I'm convinced that we need nothing else. After all, it was given to Paul to complete the Word of God. And these days, I'm thinking that Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians is a perfect completion of the Word of God. In these 3 letters, we have information that is oh so satisfying. In these 3 letters, we have the secret, King James Version, mystery. In these three letters, we have the greatest of all biblical prophecies, prophecies that go far beyond anything you'll find in Daniel or Isaiah or the venerated book of Revelation. Give me one second. Hold on.
Isn't it funny to call it the venerated book of Revelation?
Yeah, hold on.
Here, kitty. Get out the whip. Teach that cat to pipe down. The venerated book of Revelation.
And check this out. If you overlay Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians, you'll find that Paul has settled down finally to a core doctrine that is perfect and complete. And thus, in Philippians 3:1, Paul says, "To write the same thing to you is not indeed irksome for me, yet it is your security." The reason I bring all this parallelism between the three letters is not to point out the obvious, but to point out the veritable data in Paul's so-called perfection epistles. In the direct mail universe, it was discovered that if you insert the fellow's name in the letter or document instead of saying "dear friend," you'd get a better, more profitable response to your selling message. Dear friend is generic. Dear Fred is specific. The most glorious information in Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians overlaps perfectly. But the veritable data in each of the three letters shows a lot of love and personal attention. In Colossians, we have the veritable data of Onesimus.
Yeah.
Aristarchus. Is that right?
Aristarchus.
Aristarchus. Mark, cousin of Barnabas.
Isn't it fun to tackle a new word?
It is, because I'm not used to seeing those things together, I guess. A cousin of Barnabas, a fellow named Jesus Justus, Epaphras, Luke, the brethren in Laodicea, Nympha, Archippus, etc. In Ephesians, we have the veritable data of Paul's chains and a beloved brother named Tychicus, whom Paul intends to send to them to bring them up to speed. In Philippians, we have the veritable data of how those saints should deal with the enemies of the cross, whom I call the James gang. They are the guys who, in chapter 1, are preaching Christ because of envy and strife. Philippians 1:15-17. They preach in pretense, verse 18, and they are opposing in everything and everything. Anything and everything, verse 28. And in chapter 2, verse 21, they are seeking that which is their own and not which is Christ's, and not that which is Christ. Mm-hmm. Next, in chapter 3, Paul warns about the James gang, the enemies of the cross, by calling them curs, a fancy word for dogs. He calls them evil workers, and he calls them the
Maimcision.
Interesting. In verse 2. What is that?
Wait.
What is that? I've never seen that before, yeah.
Well, you've heard of circumcision, right?
Yes.
So maimcision is a play on that word. So not only do they want you to circumcise, but man, they will maim you over the matter.
I see.
See, it's a double entendre.
Mm-hmm.
Paul was real sarcastic in verse 2 when he calls the James gang the maimcision. It's such lovely writing to call the enemies of the cross the maimcision guys.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen that word. Is that something that is an actual word, or did you just put that together yourself?
I think it's an old English word. And the Concordant Brothers found it in the dictionary, and it seemed to apply in verse 2 because it's a weird version. In verse 2, it's a weird version of the word circumcision. And so we hardly know what to make of it. But maimcision seems to work as far as, because it only shows up one time in the Bible. And it's a weird variation on the word circumcision. So let's go with maimcision. And that works contextually too. To call those knuckle. I mean, wouldn't you call Jill and JG and preterists, wouldn't you call them the maimcision?
Yeah, I think that's probably suitable.
Yeah, they will make a mess of your life, thinking that they've got a pair of scissors and that they can do a fine job of it. Oh my God. Run.
Yikes, a pair of scissors. That's frightful. All right. He suggests in verse 3 and 4 that they, the enemies of the cross, have confidence in the flesh. And finally, in verse 18 through 19, he says, the enemies of the cross are bound for destruction. Their God is their bowels, and their glory is their shame. And one more thing, they are disposed to the terrestrial, like yikes. In chapter 4, Paul throws in some veritable data by saying some kind words to Euodia. Is that right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Sintaichi,
Mm-hmm.
Clement, and the rest of my fellow workers whose names are in the scroll of life. And finally, he closes out the veritable data by thanking the Philippian saints for their kind contributions to Paul and the work in the past, and their recent contributions sent along with a brother named, oh, this one's going to be fun. I know I've seen it before, but I'm having trouble with it.
Let me know if you want my help.
Epaphroditus?
Yes,
Okay.
Epaphroditus.
Epaphroditus. Kind of. Okay.
What a lovely brother with a lovely name, Epaphroditus.
I wonder what he went by in a short form, like a nickname.
Pappy.
Pappy.
Hey, Pappy.
Yeah. So next time you read these 3 letters, notice the overlay of information, but also notice the veritable data. And if you're like me, you'll see a lot of love on the part of Paul in really keeping in touch with these guys. Now, I believe repetition is the mother of all learning, and Paul seems to agree by saying, to be writing the same to you is not indeed irksome for me, yet it is your security. And how delightful to see the flat-out repetition in Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians, and what is not pure repetition at least rhymes in approach and theme. The cross and what it accomplishes is the solid theme in these letters. The cross takes us from the citizenship of Israel all the way to the far reaches of the universe. One more thought about veritable data. Ever since the internet became more and more popular, a lot of newspapers have gone out of business. However, a few small town newspapers have survived. I think the one thing that makes them survive is the veritable data they have in their pages, in the form of the police blotter, where you can read just about your neighbor who just got arrested for being drunk. And you can have the obituaries, where you can read about the folks in town that you may know who have died, and of course, wedding announcements, anniversaries, etc. We are all interested in not only ourselves, but we're interested in our neighbors as well. The names Paul lists in his letters are precious. Most are supporters, friends, and co-workers. There are a few knuckleheads mentioned, like Alexander the coppersmith and Hymenaeus. We need both. Who is Hymenaeus?
He was with Alexander the coppersmith, and they were teaching, they were the preterists of their day. And so there's no resurrection to look forward to. It's already passed. Move along.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so they were exactly like our version of the professing preterist.
Got it. Okay. We need both, don't you know? Why? Because this is a journey of faith. We're not at the same place we were some years ago. God has moved us along. We see things we didn't see before, and so influenced our lives. Even if they did not know they were influencing our lives, they did, and God blessed them. And God blessed the veritable data. Where would we be without it? Grace to you, Ace Theo, Data Man, 7:19 p.m. I like that.
Oh my God, that's kind of a sweet little essay.
Yeah, I'll tell you a small adventure that I had earlier with that sound problem.
Oh yeah.
I didn't say much when it happened because I kind of couldn't, but so I was curious about my internet speed, and I had gone to this website that I'd gone before, or at least I thought I was going to check the speed, and I mistyped the name by accident, and it actually took me to this site that like locked up my computer, beeped my computer at me, and put this big like sign on the screen that said I'd been hacked and that my computer was now locked down, and I had to call this number to get it unlocked, right? So I unplugged my router, turned off my computer, and booted it into safe mode and deleted the last 24 hours worth of internet cache, cookies, etc. And then did a couple of other small maintenance things. I told my browser not to reopen Windows when it came back on, and then restarted my computer, and it was fine. So,
wow, so you beat the scammers.
yes, this time I did. But I was finding out about this stuff, and I guess they call that scareware. It's not something that actually installs on your computer. It's like a web page that has in its program to not accept input from like your mouse and keyboard, for instance, and it also like goes full screen, right? But it doesn't actually do anything. That's why they have to have you call, because that's when they actually do something, because they give you they ask for remote access, and they say, oh, you're going to need to pay to get this problem fixed and all this other stuff. Yes. So, yeah.
Those scammers, aren't they cute?
Yep. They got nothing better to do.
Thank God for
There's enough
scammer
gullible
payback.
people out there, that panic and go, oh my God. And they,
So thank God for the scammer payback channel. Rose IRL and Kit Boga, they all do some fine work to expose and harass the scammers.
Yes, I love Kit Boga. Yeah, definitely, he's great.
He is so delightful.
I especially like it when he there's a couple where he gains access to their closed circuit TV, like at the call center where the people are.
Uh-huh.
He's actually like looking at the person that's scamming him and telling them and they panic. It's so lovely to see them panic. You
want to bring one of them up?
Let me see if I can find one. I'm going to go to his channel.
Okay. So, brothers and sisters, it might be fun and helpful to you to subscribe to Kit Boga and see all the scams that the scammers are playing out of India, Pakistan, Nigeria, wherever the hell they are. Some of them are local, right here in the States. But also, it might be helpful to do a search for how many types of scams are there? Because there's not that many types. There's like 8 scams that you can pull on a person. Back in the 80s, before the internet was hot and heavy, people who had any semblance of, being in business or, whatever, we would get letters from Nigeria, from a Nigerian prince who was sitting on, millions of dollars in gold. And he was asking us for help in banking it in America where it's safe.
Right. Yeah.
And all you had to do was send them $500 to help cover the cost of something or another, right? And then they would come up with another reason why you had to send them another 500.
Yeah.
And it was surprising. It was so powerful a thing that even highly so-called intelligent people fell for it. I saw an article in the Wall Street Journal back in the 80s and 90s that one CPA, a glorified bookkeeper, right, fell for it and lost $50,000 to a Nigerian scammer.
Wow. Yeah, I just came across a YouTube video a few days ago where this woman was checking out in a grocery store or a Target or something like that, and she was buying all these gift cards, and she was telling the cashier that she was buying them for Elon Musk. that he had contacted her, and they were having this conversation, and he was interested in this woman. This woman's like, 80 years old or something, and she had his picture on her phone, and she showed the cashier. When the cashier asked to see the conversation, she showed her phone to the cashier, and the cashier was like, "Oh, no, 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 this isn't Elon Musk. Please don't talk to this person again." And she refused to ring up the gift cards, and the lady let the woman respond to the scammer, through the messages. And her and her workmate sent a few messages that basically like ended the contact between the scammer and this woman. But this poor woman thought that she was talking to Elon Musk and that he was, her friend and he needed her help. And so she was buying like hundreds of dollars worth of these gift cards that she was going to digitally send to him. So, yeah.
You remember that scam where they would call a relative and say, your son or daughter, whatever, is in the hospital and we need money to take care of them or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. My dad got one of those calls about my son, and he thought, this doesn't sound right. And he called my son. My son was at home, So or their car broke down or something like that, and they needed money to get home. I think is how it worked. But so I know people who've had that. Scammers try to get them.
Yeah, I've heard an updated version of that where they call and pretend to be like a correctional facility. And they basically say that, some relative of yours is in jail and they need you to send money to bail them out or whatever. And the person, they put a person on the phone and have them crying and upset. And it's not even, of course, it's not that person. But, they're hoping that you send the money before you hang up. But one of these stories was the person was in the middle of that. And it was about her boyfriend, and her boyfriend walked in the door like while the scammers had her on the phone.
Yeah.
To say that he was down at the police station and that she needed to send money.
Well, they take a risk when they do that, but I'm sure they get a few now and then that fall for it. So it's pretty sad.
I'll say, while you're looking for that, let's have Deborah read the essay.
Yeah, go for it.
And also interrupt yourself, Deborah, and comment.
All right. What's veritable data?
It's a big word that proves I'm really smart and nobody else is.
All right. We already know that. You tell us every day how smart you are. Just kidding. That's the end of my reading career, huh? The veritable data and Paul's perfection epistles. I think you're pretty special. Anyway, here we look at Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians. And we notice the theme of the three letters and the kindness of Paul to customize each letter to each of the ecclesias. To be writing the same to you is not indeed irksome for me, yet it is your security. Philippians 3:1. Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians are three powerful letters of Paul, dear friend. And I suspect we should memorize them as soon as possible. Yeah, I'll work on that tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. When Paul's career, I get them all confused, though. I can't remember which one came from Colossians and one came from Ephesians.
Yeah.
You've got them all memorized, so anyway. When Paul's career first got started, God had revealed a few things to him, but not everything. His early letters still had in them elements of the circumcision evangel, lots of reference to all things Israel. But by the time Paul was in prison, God had revealed to him much more. So much more. In Colossians 1:25, it says that God had given it to him to complete the word of God. Ain't that something? Decades ago, I used to worry a bit that the Bible was missing some parts. I mean, we knew from internal evidence that there was at least one letter to the Corinthians that we don't have today. And we know that Paul wrote a letter to the Ecclesia in Laodicea that we don't have today. If only we had the missing letters, we'd know everything, was what I was thinking. But I no longer feel that way. These days, I'm thrilled with the letters we have, and I'm convinced that we need nothing else. After all, it was given to Paul to complete the word of God. In these days, I'm thinking that Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians is a perfect completion to the Word of God. In these three letters, we have information that is oh so satisfying. In these three letters, we have the secret, our King James Version mystery. In these three letters, we have the greatest of all biblical prophecies, prophecies that go beyond anything you'll find in Daniel or Isaiah or the venerated book of Revelation. And check this out. If you overlay Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians, you find that Paul has settled down finally to a core doctrine that is perfect and complete. And thus, in Philippians 3:1, Paul says, "To write the same thing to you is not indeed irksome for me, yet it is your security." The reason I bring all this parallelism between the three letters is not to point out the obvious, but to point out the veritable data in Paul's so-called prophetic epistles. In the direct mail universe, it was discovered that if you insert the fellow's name in the letter or document, instead of saying "Dear friend," you'd get a better, more profitable response to your selling message. "Dear friend" is generic. "Dear Fred" is specific. That's another scam they use when they send you those letters, the
Yeah.
religious people.
Uh-huh.
It's got your name on it, you know. "Hey, friend, God woke me up in the middle of the night to pray for you." You know,
Yeah.
you and 10,000 other people. "Dear Fred" is specific. The most glorious information in Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians overlaps perfectly, but the veritable data in each of the three letters shows a lot of love and personal attention. In Colossians, we have the veritable data of Onesimus, Aristarchus, whatever, Mark,
Aristarchus.
Aristarchus, Mark, cousin of Barnabas, a fellow named Jesus Justus. There's a Jesus Justus in the Bible?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take your word for it. Epaphras, Luke, the brethren in Laodicea, Nympha, Archippus, etc. In Ephesians, we have the veritable data of Paul's chains and a beloved brother named Tychicus, whom Paul intends to send to them to bring them up to speed. In Philippians, we have the veritable data of how these saints should deal with the enemies of the cross, in whom I call the James gang. They are the guys who in chapter 1 are preaching Christ because of envy and strife. Philippians 1:15-17. They preach in pretense, verse 18, and they are posing in anything and everything, verse 28. Ain't that the truth? And in chapter 2, verse 21, they are seeking that which is their own and not that which is Christ. Next, in chapter 3, Paul warns about the James gang, the enemies of the cross, by calling them curs, a fancy word for dogs. He calls them evil workers, and he calls them the maimcision in verse 2. He suggests in verse 3 and 4 that they, the enemies of the cross, have confidence in the flesh. And finally, in verse 18-19, he says, "These enemies of the cross are bound for destruction. Their God is their bowels, and their glory is their shame." And one more thing, they are disposed to the terrestrial. Yikes. In chapter 4, Paul throws in some veritable data by saying some kind words to Euodia, Cynthia, Clement, and the rest of my fellow workers whose names are in the scroll of life. And finally, he closes out the veritable data by thanking the Philippian saints. You sure like that word, veritable data. By thanking the Philippian saints for their kind contribution to Paul and the work in the past, and their recent contribution sent along with a brother named Epaphroditus. Yeah, good. These names get to me. So the next time you read these three letters, notice the overlay of information, but also notice the veritable data. And if you're like me, you'll see a lot of love on the part of Paul in really keeping in touch with these guys. Now, I believe repetition is the mother of learning, and Paul seems to agree by saying, to be writing the same to you is not indeed irksome for me, yet it is to your security. Philippians 3:1. And how delightful to see the flat out repetitions in Ephesians, Philippians, and Colossians. And what is not pure repetition at least rhymes in approach and theme. The cross and what it accomplished is this solid theme in these letters. The cross takes us from the citizenship of Israel all the way to the far reaches of the universe. One more thought about veritable data. Ever since the internet became more and more popular, a lot of new newspapers have gone out of business. However, a few small town newspapers have survived. I think one thing that makes them survive is the veritable data they have in their pages, in the form of the police blotter, where you can read about your neighbor who just got arrested for being drunk. And you can have the obituaries where you can read about folks in town that you may know who have died, and of course, wedding announcements, anniversaries, etc. Being from a small town, I know what goes on, and there are people that write to the letters to the editor, bitching about what their neighbors are doing or whatever, and they put it in there. So we are all interested in not only ourselves, but we're interested in our neighbors as well. The names Paul lists in his letters are precious. Most are supporters, friends, and co-workers. There are a few knuckleheads mentioned like Alexander the coppersmith and Hymenaeus. We need both, don't you know? Why? Because this is a journey of faith. We're not at the same place we were some years ago. God has moved us along. We see things we didn't see before. And so influenced our lives. Where am I now? And so is okay. Even if they did not know were influencing our lives, they did. And God bless them. And God bless the veritable data. Where would we be without it? Grace to you. Ace Theo, data man. Data man. Well, if I need any data, I know where to come to get it.
Yeah. Who Stan Lee is?
Didn't he write comic books?
Yeah, he created all the Marvel superhero guys, like Spider-Man and the Hulk.
Yeah,
One thing he never did was he never created Mosquito Man.
Mosquito Man. I
He's
don't
not
think that'd be a
he,
big seller.
he's terribly annoying, but he saves the universe by being annoying.
Yeah, but what does he do but fly? Does he break down buildings? Does he uh, save ladies off of the railroad track? The Mosquito Man? What would he
Well,
do?
we don't know because he didn't invent Mosquito Man yet, but I guess we'll just have to invent it ourselves.
Yeah, didn't he create that one that was like a rock? A man. What was his? Oh, I can't think of they called him though.
The Thing.
He was all
Yeah, he was made of bricks or something.
yeah, something like that.
You're totally up on your Marvel superheroes.
Well, I didn't really read them, but I knew about Stan Lee.
Uh-huh.
I don't know who invented Superman. I used to read Superman comics when I was a kid. And then you get the Superman comic, and it would leave you on a cliffhanger, so you'd have to wait till the next month.
Yeah.
And then you'd go down to this. Well, this is what I did anyway. You had to go down to the store and make sure that comic was in, before they sold out. So those were
When
the
I
days.
started buying comics, they were like 15 cents each.
Yeah, they're a couple bucks now, aren't they?
I think so, yeah.
If you can find them. Do they even sell them anymore?
I don't know. But if I had those 15-cent comics, and I could be making some bucks selling them on eBay for thousands of dollars.
You know what else I wish I'd bought more of? I didn't know about it at the time because it was what we had. A lot of records,
Oh yeah.
especially the first ones that came out from like Led Zeppelin or the Beatles or whatever. If you kept those and kept them in pristine shape, you could make quite a bit of money. But or the first Barbie doll that came out, if you bought that and kept it in its package and didn't
Uh-huh.
use it, well, you can't use it though. That's the whole thing. What's the fun of having a toy if you can't use it?
That's right.
I know.
Captain Justin.
I was reading Ecclesiastes again.
Mm,
There's a lot of deity of God verses we could use on there. A lot.
sweet.
Yeah. I kind of want to read it right now again. Will you listen? If I read
What,
it?
the whole damn the whole damn
It's
book?
only 12 chapters.
No, not right now, but we can do
Aw.
that at a future date.
Well, what if I give you a taste?
All right, take it away.
Okay, let me.
Like a
I
movie
didn't,
trailer.
I didn't write down any of the verses, but I could probably scroll and find it. There's many of them though. Like, let's see. How about this? Okay, so there's a bunch of them, but I'll try to find some as I scroll here. Like, for example, I know that whatever the one Elohim is doing, it shall be for the eon. Onto it there shall be nothing to add, and from it there shall be nothing to subtract. The one Elohim, he does it that they may fear before him. And one sec, that wasn't the one I was looking for, but that's actually good too. It was in like 14 of one of these. 1 second. Of course, there's a lot that say stuff like this: the destiny of the stupid. There's a lot that over and over is saying in every chapter that everyone's destiny is the same.
Really?
Are you in chapter 5?
Yeah. Well, I was looking at chapter 2 right now, but there's a lot of them. Yeah. It's all over.
You were repeating something I just read here. I turned to chapter 5.
Come on, let me read the whole thing. It's so good.
All right, pick out one chapter and read one chapter.
Oh,
Here's
just
one. Here's 5:5. For as a dream comes with many experiences, so the voice of a stupid person comes with many words.
Yeah, that's a fun one. But there's a lot, like, really, like, let's see. Oh, here's what, wait.
Wait a minute, back to Deborah. A soothsayer's thing comes with many words?
No.
A stupid person.
Oh.
Stupid. Okay, sorry.
Stupid person.
You will literally love this book. You haven't rejoiced in it in probably forever. I gotta read it, Ace.
One chapter.
Serious.
One chapter. Pick out a chapter.
One chapter, but I'll keep reading past. Got it. Okay.
I'll make sure he doesn't read past.
No, don't make sure. Don't make sure. The words of the assembler, son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, says the assembler. Vanity of vanities. The whole is vanity. What advantage has a human in all his toil which he toils under the sun? One generation goes and another generation comes, that the earth is standing for the eon. The sun rises and the sun sets and gasps back to its place that it may rise there once more. A going to the south and turning around to the north, and around the wind is going, and courses the winds returns. All the water courses are flowing to the sea, yet the sea is not being filled. To the place which the water courses are flowing, there they're returning forth again. All the words are weary, a man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor is the ear filled with hearing. What occurred before, that shall occur again, and what was done, it shall be done again. There's nothing at all new under the sun.
Oh, mercy. Okay, stop right there. I'm satisfied.
No, you'll be more
genius.
It's so good. You got to keep listening. Is there anything which one may say, see, this is new? It has already occurred in eons that were before us. There is no remembrance of former generations, and also for those who shall come after us, and a remembrance shall not continue for those that shall come afterward. I myself, the assembler, came to be king of Israel in Jerusalem. I applied myself to inquiring and exploring by wisdom concerning all that is done under the heavens. It is the experience of evil which Elohim has given to the sons of humanity to humble them by it. I saw all the deeds done under the sun. You know this is good. And behold, the whole is vanity and grazing on the wind. What is distorted cannot be set in order, and what is lacking cannot be counted. I spoke with my heart, saying, behold, I have grown great and added wisdom to over all those who were before me in Jerusalem. My heart has seen much wisdom and knowledge. Then I applied my heart to know wisdom, and as well as raving and frivolity, I realized that even this is grazing on the wind. For in much wisdom is much vexation, and he who adds, one second, scrolling. Where is it? Oh, and he who adds knowledge adds pains. I said in my heart, do come then, let me probe you with rejoicing. Now look at what is good, but behold, even this is vanity. Mirth, I said, it is raving, and rejoicing it is achieving. Sorry, then what then is it achieving? I explored within my heart by stimulating my flesh with wine, while my heart was leading in much wisdom, and by getting hold of frivolity until I should see that which is good may be good for the sons of humanity, and what they should do under the heaven on all the days of their life. I made great things as my works. I built houses for myself, and I planted vineyards for myself. I made gardens and parks for myself, and trees of every fruit. I made reservoirs of water for myself, and to irrigate them, and sprout of grove trees. I acquired men servants and maid servants, and any sons born in the household became mine. Moreover, abundant cattle and herds and flocks became mine, more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. I collected also silver and gold for myself, valuable treasures of the kings and of provinces, male singers and female singers, and all the delights of the sons of humanity, a wine waiter and a wine waitress, as I grew greater and added more than anyone who was before me in Jerusalem. Indeed, my wisdom has stayed with me. All that my eyes asked, I did not deny to them. I did not withhold my heart from rejoicing, for my heart had rejoicing from all the toil. Was the portion of all my toil. Yet when I faced all the cloud, when I faced all of my deeds that were done under that my hands had done, and all the toil which I had toiled doing in them, behold, the whole is vanity and grazing on wind. There's no advantage under the sun. Then I turned around and to see wisdom and compared with raving and frivolity. For what is the will of man what will the man do who comes after the king, and beyond what others have already done? And I saw there is more advantage for the wisdom than for frivolity. For just as there is more advantage to light than darkness, the wise man uses the eyes in his head, while the stupid man walks in darkness. Yet I realize that there's one destiny that befalls them all. So I said in my heart, since the destiny of the stupid man is also mine, it shall befall me. To what advantage have I been wise? Hence I spoke in my heart, this too is vanity. For there is no remembrance of the wise man or the stupid man for the eon. In all the days that are already coming, everyone has already forgotten. Alas, the wise man dies along with the stupid one. Then I hated life, for to me the work was evil that was done under the sun. For the whole is vanity and grazing on wind. And I hated all the fruit of the toil which I was toiling under the sun, that I would leave to a man that shall come after me. For who knows if he should be a wise man or a frivolous man? Yet he shall have authority over all the fruit which I have toiled for, and which I have done wise under the sun. This too is vanity. So I turned around with despair in my heart over all the fruit of toil which I had toiled under the sun. For there's a man whose fruit of toil is in wisdom and knowledge and success. Yet to another man who has not toiled for it, he shall give it to him's portion. This too is vanity and a great evil. For what is coming to a man for all the days of his toil, for the shepherding of his heart, which he is toiling under the sun. For all that his days are pains and vexation, all his experience, even in the night, his heart will not lie still. This too is vanity. Yet there is nothing for a man that he should eat and drink and cause his soul to do good. For this too is, I saw it is from the hand of Elohim. For who can eat? Look at this. For who can eat or who can hurry to it outside of him? That's a cool verse, isn't it? For who can eat or who can hurry to it outside of him? That being God. All right. For to a man who is well pleasing before him, he gives wisdom and knowledge and rejoicing. Yet to the sinner he gives experience of gathering and collecting together to give to him who is well pleasing before the one Elohim. Yet this too is vanity and grazing on wind. For every one thing there is a stated time and a stated season under the heavens, a season to give birth and a season to die, a season to plant and a season to plant down, which is chop down, which is planted, a season to kill, a season to heal, a season to preach, and a season to build, a season to weep, and a season to make merry, a season of wailing, and a season of dancing, a season to fling away stones, and a season to collect stones together, a season to embrace, and a season to stay far from embracing, a season to seek, and a season to count that which is lost, a season to keep, and a season to fling away, a season to tear, and a season to sow, a season to hush, and a season to speak, a season to love, a season to hate, a season of war, and a season of peace. What advantage does the worker have in which all he is toiling? I see the experience that Elohim gives to the sons of humanity to humble them by it. He has made everything fitting in its season. However, he has put obscurity in their heart so that the man cannot find out his work, which the one, Elohim, does from the beginning unto the terminus. I know there is no good for them, but to achieve good in one's life, and moreover, anyone of humanity that he should eat and drink and see good from all his toil, it is the gift of Elohim. I know that whatever the one Elohim is doing, it shall be for the eon, and unto it can there nothing be added, and from it shall nothing subtract. And the one Elohim, he does it that they may fear before him. That which is that which already was, and that which has come already has been. And the one Elohim he shall seek out, which has been pursued away. Yet further I have seen under the sun where the place of judgment is, and there was wickedness. And the place of justice is, there was wickedness too. I saw in my heart that for the righteous one and the wicked one, the one Elohim shall judge them both, for he has set a season and an event for every deed. I said in my heart, it is on account of the sons of humanity that the one Elohim seeks to manifest and to show them that they themselves are beasts. For the destiny of the sons of humanity and the destiny of the beasts, it is one destiny for them. As death is for this one, so death is for that one. One spirit is for all. There is no advantage for the human over the beast, for the whole is vanity. All that are going to one place, all have come from the soil, and all return to the soil. Who is knowing about the spirit of the sons of humanity, whether it is ascending above, or whether the spirit of the beast, whether it is ascending below to the earth, or so? I saw that there's nothing a man shall do that he rejoices in all that. So I saw that there's nothing better than a man should rejoice in all his works, since that is his portion. For who can bring him to see what shall come after him? I turned about, and I saw the exploitings that are done under the sun. Behold, the tears of those being exploited, and there was no comforter for them. The vigor is in the hand of their exploiters, and there was no comforter for them. So I lauded the dead and that already died over the living who are still alive. Yet better than them both is the one who has not come into being yet, who has not seen the evil that is work that is done under the sun. And so I saw all the toil and all the success and the work done, that yet it was jealousy of one man over his associate. This too is vanity and grazing on the wind. A stupid man folds his hands and eats his own flesh. Yet better is the palm full of rest than both palms full of toil and grazing on the wind. I turned about and I saw vanity under the sun. There was one person, there was not a second. There even was no son or brother for him. Also, there was no end to all his toil, and his eyes were not satisfied with riches. Then he said, "For whom am I toiling and making my soul lack good?" This too is vanity and is an experience of evil. Two are better than one because there is a better reward for their toil. For if they fall, one shall raise up his partner, but woe to him who falls when there is no second person to raise him up. Also, if two lie down, there is warmth for them, but if one lies alone, how can he keep warm? And if somebody overpowers him who is single, then two can stand in front firm who attacks, and a threefold thread cannot quickly be pulled apart. Better is a boy provident and wise than a king old and stupid, who does not know how to take warning anymore. For from the house of prisoners one came forth to reign, even through his own kingdom, he who was born destitute. Yet I saw all the living who were going about under the sun, staying with the second boy who stood in his stead. Yet there was no end to all the people, to all whom he was set. Yet those who were coming later were not rejoicing in him. Indeed, this too is vanity and grazing on the wind. Guard your feet when you go into the house of Elohim. Go near to hear is better than the stupid should offer sacrifice, for they know nothing to do but to do evil. Do not be rash with your mouth and with your heart. It must not hasten to bring forth speech to the one Elohim, for the one Elohim is in the heavens and you are on the earth. Therefore, let your words become few. For as a dream comes with many experiences, so the voice of the stupid one comes with many words. Whenever you vow a vow to Elohim, do not decline to pay it. Do not delay to pay it, for he who has done no delight in those who are stupid. That which you vow, pay. It is better that you should not vow than that you should vow and not pay. Do not allow your mouth to cause your flesh to sin, and do not protest before the temple messenger that it was an error. Why should the one Elohim be wrathful at your voice and bring harm to the work of your hands? For in many dreams and vanities there are many words. Therefore fear the one Elohim. If you see extortion of the destitute and the pillage of judgment and justice and the providence, do not be amazed over this event. For one lofty official above another lofty official is observing, and other lofty officials are over them. I thought that verse was cool. Yet an advantage to the land in all respects is this: a king devoted to the field, that it shall be served. One who loves silver is never satisfied with silver, and one who loves superabundance never has enough income. This too is vanity. When goods increase, those who devour them multiply, and what profit are they who possess who their possessor save for the sight of their eyes? The sleep of the servant is sweet, whether he eats little or much. Yet the plenty with the rich man, it does not permit him to sleep. There is a travailing evil which I have seen under the sun, riches kept for their possessor to their own evil. Then these riches perish through some experience of evil. Then he begets a son where there is nothing left in his hand. Yet just as he came forth from his mother's belly, naked shall he return to go whence he came. And he shall not take anything from his toil which he may carry in his hand. This too is a travailing evil. Exactly as he came, so shall he go. And what advantage is it to him who toiled for the wind? Moreover, all his days are in darkness and in mourning, with much vexation, illness, and wrath. And behold that which I have seen, that which is good, that is fitting to eat and to drink and to see good with one's toil, for which he is toiling under the sun. in all the days of his and all the days of his life that the one Elohim has given to him, for that is his portion. Moreover, concerning any man who the one Elohim gives riches and substance, and gives him the power to eat thereof, and obtain his portion, and rejoice in his toil, this is good, for it is the gift of Elohim. For he shall not be mindful of the days of his life, for the one Elohim is keeping him humble in the rejoicing of his heart. For there is an evil under the sun that I have seen, and it lies upon humanity greatly. When a man to whom Elohim gives riches and substance and glory, and he has no lack for his soul and all the years that he yearns for, yet the one Elohim, he does not give him the power to eat of it, and the foreign man eats it. This is a vanity and a travailing evil. For if a man begets 100 children and lives many years, so that his days become a multitude, yet his soul is not satisfied with good, and there's also no tomb for this man, I say, a stillborn child is better off than he is. For it comes into vanity, and in darkness it goes away, and in darkness its name is covered over. Moreover, it neither saw the sun nor knew anything. Thus, this had more rest than that man. Even supposing that he lived twice 1,000 years and saw no good, are not all going to the same place? All of a man's toil is for his mouth, yet even the soul is never filled. For what advantage has a wise man over a stupid one? And what has a humble man, and for what the humble man knows to walk in front of the living? Better are the sight of the eyes than the roving of the soul. This too is vanity and grazing on wind. What has come to be has already been called by its name. And that sounds like predestination, but what has come to be has already been called by its name. And what has a man for, and that which man is has been foreknown. No one can adjudicate against him who is mightier than he. Let me read that again. I like that verse. What has come to be already been what has come to be has already been called by its name, and that which man is has already been foreknown. No one can adjudicate against him who is mightier than he is. Obviously, it's God there. No one can adjudicate God's will. In other words, when there are many words, the vanity increases. And what advantage is that to man? For who knows what is good for a man during his life, during the number of the days of his transitory life, seeing that he makes them like a shadow. God, of course, is the healer. Makes them like a shadow. For who can tell a man what shall come after him under the sun? A good name is better than a best attire, and the day of death better than the day of one's birth. For it is better to go to the house of mourning than the house of feasting. And it is in the house of feasting, and that is the terminus of every human. Thus let the living lay this on his heart. Better is vexation than mirth, for a troubled face the heart may become better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, yet the heart of the stupid is in the house of rejoicing. Better it is to hear the rebuke of a wise man than to hear the song of the stupid. For as the sound of briars under a pot, so the mirth of the stupid man. So is the mirth of the stupid man. This too is vanity. Extortion makes a wise man raving, and a bribe destroys the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and a long-suffering spirit is better than a haughty spirit. Do not be rash to be vexed in your spirit, for vexation rests in the bosom of the stupid. Do not say, why is it that the former days were better than these present times? Wasn't this what we were asking just the other day, by the way? Shame on us, right? Do not say, why is it that the former days are better than these present times? For it is not in wisdom that you ask about this. Wisdom is good with an allotment and an advantage to those seeing the sun. For in the shadow of wisdom, it is the shadow of silver, and the advantage of knowledge in the wisdom keeps alive those possessing it. Seeing the work of the one, Elohim, For who can set in order that which he has overturned? Look at that one. See the work of the one, Elohim. For who can set in order that which he has overturned? Just hear that? I like it. In the day of the good, be resting in the good, and in the day of evil, be vigilant. Indeed, the one, Elohim, has made this one along with that one for this reason, that a man cannot find anything out about his hereafter. And you know what was funny is when I was reading this before, someone asked me a question. Yeah, what about me and what I want? And then right after that, well, okay, I didn't answer, and it's like the text just answered for him when he interrupted me, because the next thing was, in the day of good be resting in the good, and in the day of evil be vigilant. Indeed, the one, Elohim, has made this one along with that one for this reason, that a man cannot find out anything about his hereafter. I have seen all this in my transitory days. There is a righteous man who perishes in his righteousness, and a wicked man who is prolonged in his evil. Do not be abundantly self-righteous. Do not be thinking superlatively, you know that word. Do not be thinking superlatively wise, for why should you make yourself desolate? Do not be abundantly wicked. Do not be frivolous. Yet why should you be dying before your season? It is good that you should hold to this, and from that also to let your hand rest, for he who is fearful before Elohim shall come forth from them all. Wisdom itself gives more strength to the wise man than 10 men of authority who are in the city. For there is no righteous man on the earth who does good and never sins. Moreover, all the words that the people speak, do not give your heart's attention, that you may hear your servant maledicting you. For even many times your heart knows that you yourself have maledicted others. All this I have probed by wisdom. I said, I indeed shall be wise. Yet it was far from me. Far away is that which has been, deep, deep, who can find it out? I turned about, and that my heart may know and explore, that I may seek out wisdom and design, and may know the wickedness of stupidity and frivoling and raving. I found out more bitter than death the kind of women whose heart is like were traps and snare nets, and her hands like bonds, and the man that is doing well before the one Elohim, he shall escape from her. Yet the sinner shall be seized from her. See, this is what I found, said the assembler, adding one thing to another to find a design, which my soul still sought, but I could not find one man out of 1,000. I found one man out of 1,000, yet I could not find a woman among all these. See, I found this alone, that the one Elohim made humanity upright, yet they seek out many devisings. Who is a wise man, and who knows the interpretation of the matter? Wisdom for a man lightens up his countenance, and the harsh strength of his face is altered. Observe the king's bidding, and on the account of the oath of Elohim, do not be rash to be going from his presence and to stand in an evil matter, for all that he desires he does. Look at that one. If a king does all he desires, what does God do? Never think of that. Observe all the king's bidding, and all that on account of the oath of Elohim. Do not be rash to going from his presence. Do not be stand evil in a matter, for all that he desires he does. Since a king's word has authority, who can say to him, what are you doing? He who is observing instruction shall know no evil matter, and the wise heart shall know season and judgment. For there is season and judgment for every event, since the evil for a man is abundant upon him. For no one knows what shall come, for just as it shall be, who can tell him? No man has authority over the spirit to detain the spirit, and no one has authority over the day of death. There is no dismissal in war, and the wickedness shall make no way of escape for its possessor. All this have I seen and applied my heart to know all the work which is done under the sun. At the season when a man has authority over another man to his evil. In such a case, I saw the wicked entombed, those who used to go, so those who used to come and go from the holy place were lauded in the city where they had done such things. This too is vanity, because there's no sentence executed quickly against the evil deed. Therefore, the heart of the sons of humanity is fully given to them to do evil. Though a sinner does 100 evils, and his days are prolonged for him, yet I know that good shall come to those who are fearful to the one Elohim, who stand in fear before him. Yet good shall not come to the wicked one, nor prolong his days, which are like a shadow, because he has no fear before Elohim. There is another vanity that is done on the earth. There is a righteous man whose retribution is according to the work of the wicked, and there are wicked ones whose retribution is according to the work of the righteous. I said that this too is vanity. So I lauded rejoicing, since there is no good a man can do under the sun, save to eat and to drink and to rejoice, and it shall be allied him with his toil and all the days of his life, which the one Elohim gives him under the sun. When I applied my heart to know wisdom and to know experience, and to see the experience that is appointed on earth, even though by day and by night one does not see sleep with his eyes, then I saw in the work of the one Elohim that a man is not able to find out the work that is done under the sun. For as much as a man may toil in seeking it out, but they shall not find it. They shall not find it. And even if a wise man says he knows, he is not able to find it out. For I laud all this on my heart, and my heart saw all this, and the righteous and the wise and their services are in the hand of the one Elohim. There's another one. Look at that. Whether it be love or hate, a man is not able to know. Everything before them is vanity. Just as to all, there is one destiny for the righteous one and for the wicked one, for the good one and for the bad one, for the clean one and for the unclean one, for the one who sacrifices and the one who does not sacrifice. So it is for the good person as for the sinner. For the one who swears just as for the one who is fearful of an oath. This is the evil that is in all that is done under the sun, that there is one destiny for all. Moreover, the heart of the sons of humanity is full of evil, and the ravings in their heart throughout the days of their life. Yet after it, they are joined to the dead. Indeed, for anyone who is joined with all the living, there is trust. For it is better to be a living cur than a dead lion. For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know nothing whatsoever. There is no further reward for them. Indeed, remembrance of them is forgotten. Both their love and their hate, as well as their jealousy, have already perished away, and there is no further portion for them for the eon in all that is done under the sun. Go, eat your bread with rejoicing, and drink your wine with a good heart, for already the one Elohim has approved your works. In every season let your garments be white, and your oil on your head, and let it not be lacking. See life with the wife whom you love all the days of your transitory life, which he gives you under the sun, all the days of your transitory life, for this is your portion in life, and it is your toil that you may be toiling under the sun. All that your hand finds to do it with your vigor, for there's no doing or devising or knowledge or wisdom in the unseen where you are going. Keep scrolling. I turned about and I saw under the sun that the race is not to the fleet, nor the battle to the masters of war, nor even bread for the wise, nor even riches for the understanding, nor even grace for the knowing. Oh, look, well, what if we apply that to some things? Nor even grace for the knowing. For a season of mischance shall happen to them all. For moreover, a man does not know his season. Like a fish like fish that are held in an evil wire, and like birds that are held in a snare, so the sons of humanity themselves are trapped by a season of evil when it falls on them suddenly. Also saw this wisdom under the sun, and it seemed great to me. There's a small city with only a few mortals in it, and a great king came against it and surrounded it, and he built great siege works against it. Now a man was available in it, provident and wise, and he would have provided escape for the city by his wisdom. Yet not one person remembered that provident man. So I said, better is the wisdom than the mastery, for in wisdom the provident man is despised, and the words of the sorry, and his words are no longer hearkened to. The restful words of a wise man the restful words of wise men hearken to are better than the outcry of the ruler among the stupid. Wisdom is better than weapons of attack, yet one sinner destroys much good. As dead flies cause the compound of oil to stink and bubble forth, and a little frivolity outweighs wisdom and glory. The heart of the wise man inclines to his right, yet the heart of the stupid to his left. Even as the frivolous man walks along his way, his heart betrays a lack and affirms to all that he is frivolous. If the spirit of the ruler ascends against you, do not leave from your place, for a healing time gives rest to great sins. There is an evil that I have seen under the sun, and an advertent error that comes forth from before one in authority. Frivolity is put in high positions. The great and the rich nobles sit in low ones. I have seen slaves on horseback and chiefs walking like upon the earth like slaves, and he who delves it from a pit hole may fall into it, and he who breaches a stone dike, a serpent may bite him. He who quarries out stones may come to grief by them, and he who splits timbers may be endangered by them. If the iron tool has become blunt, one does not polish the surface. Then he who would be masterful with potency, yet wisdom would succeed for advantage. If a serpent should bite when there's no stake charm, then there is no advantage of the possessor of a charming tongue. Words from the mouth of the wise are grace, yet the lips of a stupid man swallow him up. At the start of the words of his mouth are frivolity, and last his mouth comes with evil raving. The frivolous man multiplies his words, but a man does not know what shall be, and what shall become after him. Who can tell him? The toil of the stupid wearies him, seeing that he does not know how to go into the city. Woe to you, land whose king is a youth, whose chiefs feast in the morning. Happy are you, king of land whose king is a son of nobletons, and whose chiefs eat in the season for mastery and not for drinking about. Because slothfulness the rafters shall sag, and because of laziness of hands the house shall leak. The making of bread is for mirth, and the making of bread is for mirth, and wine gives rejoicing to life, while silver answers everything. Even in your thinking, do not maledict a king, neither maledict a rich man in the chamber of your bed, because a flyer of the heavens may carry the voice, and a possessor of wings may tell your speech. Send forth your bread on the surface of the water for many days after you shall find it. Give a portion to 7, yea to 8, for you do not know what evil may become upon the earth. If thick clouds are full of downpour, they shall empty upon the earth. If a tree falls to the south or to the north, a place where the tree falls, it shall rest. He who observes the wind shall not sow, and he who examines the thick clouds shall not reap. Just as you do not know the way that the wind may be, or how the bones are formed in the full womb, thus you cannot know thus you cannot know the work of the one Elohim who does the whole. Doesn't that sound like Ephesians 1:11 or whatever it is? Who does Elohim, the work of the one Elohim who does the whole, everything. Sow your seed in the morning, and do not let your land rest at the evening, for you do not know wherein this may succeed, whether this or that, or whether both of them alike are good. The light is sweet, and it is good for the eyes to see the sun. For if a man lives many years, he shall rejoice in them all. Yet he should remember the days of darkness, for they shall be many. All that will come is vanity. Rejoice, choice youth, in your childhood. Let your heart make you cheerful in the days of your prime. Walk in the ways of your heart and by the sight of your eyes. Yet know that for all these the one Elohim shall bring you into judgment. Take away vexation from your heart and expel evil sufferings from your flesh. For childhood and early days are transitory. Yet remember your Creator in all the days of your prime, while the evil days have not yet come, or the years encroach when you shall say, there is no delight for them, for me in them. While the sun and the light is not darkened, or the moon or the stars, and before the thick clouds return the downpour, and the day when the keepers of the house stir in the sweat, and the men of valor bend down, when the grinding of maids halt because there are few, and those who are seeking out through the crevices are darkened, when the double doors of the roadway are closed, and when the sound of the grinding becomes low, and the one rises from the sound of the bird, yet all the daughters are prostrate. Moreover fears the lofty heights, and catastrophes are on the road, when the almond tree flowers and the grasshopper is burdensome, and the caperberry's effects are annulled, and when a man goes to his Aeonian home, and those who are wailing turn about in the roadway, remember him, while the silver cable is not pulled away, and the golden bowl is splintered, and the jar is broken at the fount, and the rolling wheel is splintered at the cistern, and the soil returns to the earth just as it was, and the spirit it returns to the one Elohim who gave it. Vanity of vanities, says the assembler, the whole is vanity. Yet, furthermore, because the assembler was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. And he listened and investigated and set forth many proverbs. The assembler sought to find words of delight, which was written in uprightness and words of truth. The words of the wise are his goad points, and its embedded vault is the possessing of gathered sayings. They are given by one shepherd. Yet, furthermore, my son, beyond these, be warned of making of many scrolls. There's no end, and much study is a weariness to the flesh. Yet, the terminus of the whole matter has been heard. Fear the one Elohim and keep his instructions, for this is the whole duty of humanity. For the one Elohim shall bring every deed into judgment concerning that which is obscured, whether good or whether evil. Oh, that's it. Isn't that a beautiful book? You're muted, by the way.
Well, sir.
That was a long chapter, Ace.
I think so, yeah.
It's one of the longer ones.
I was reading along with you, though.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that book.
I want to start reading it again. I forgot how much wisdom was in that book.
Yeah, really, it's my favorite Old Testament book for sure.
Because you think about it, it's got the vanity of living on this earth. What's the purpose of being here? And then it goes back to who God is. I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed all the like deity of God in it before because probably the translations obscure things, but also I was just ignorant that God was God back then. So, so even though I've read it maybe twice or something since, I'm more acquainted with it than I was at the beginning. Or I mean, like since I came to the knowledge of the truth, but I wasn't acquainted with it enough to even notice those verses. That's just they're just saying like, look, even like little things like you look at where it says like where it's talking about your youth, and he's just like, yeah, just follow your eyes and all that. He's basically just leaving it up to God at once. Is he not? Of course he makes sure you understand. You know. Let's see, where is it? Where else? He changes his tone, take away vexation from your heart, and expel evil sufferings from your flesh. For childhood and early days are transitory. But it's kind of interesting how he's like, rejoice, choice youth, in your childhood, and let your heart make you cheerful in the days of your prime. Walk in the ways of your heart and by the sight of your eyes. Yet know for all these the one Elohim shall bring you into judgment. You can kind of just hear he's like, you know what I mean? He's like leaving it up to God, kind of.
Well, 9:1 says, "For I laid all this on my heart, and on my heart saw all this, that the righteous and the wise and their services are in the hands of one Elohim." So
Whether
I mean,
love or hate or look, and they look, whether it be love or hate, a man is not able to know. Everything before them is vanity. So like, I think that part's kind of cool too, because it's like, you could also say whether belief or unbelief.
because people in the churches usually think that they can kind of choose to love people.
Yeah.
I choose to love you, and I don't know if that works that way.
Right.
I think God has to give that love to you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for reading that. That was very interesting. So.
Yeah. Of course.
Oh, here's a good one. In chapter 8, says, let's see. And wickedness shall make no way of escape for its possessor.
Yeah, there you go.
If that isn't the sovereignty of
God.
God.
I was thinking about that when I read it, because I know the King James mistranslates sequel as way of escape or whatever in Corinthians. So I was thinking about that phrase, but I didn't even think about what it said there. But you're right, yeah. There's no way of escape. Uh-oh. What's Christianity going to do about it?
Well, sometimes if you get into wickedness, it's like a trap,
Yeah.
For some people, they can't get out of it because they're trapped. And that's, if they try
why don't they just use their free will to stop drinking and smoking and doing with those who do or whatever they say?
Yeah, how come they have all these self-help groups and all these things,
Yeah.
Oh,
Literally.
Well, they call them self-help, but you're getting help from other people,
Yeah.
Oh,
Hi.
hello.
What's up, guys? I don't know if you ever see my son.
No, he's cute.
Yeah.
He looks like you.
Yeah, my little twin.
Without a beard.
Yeah.
Which
Say
one?
hi.
Which one's talking? I can't.
Say hi.
I'm just kidding.
What's your
Hi.
name, guy? Or
His name's Ivo.
He doesn't tell his name to strangers, he said, huh?
Say Ivo.
Eyeball?
Yeah.
Eyeball. Okay, that's
Ivo.
Never heard that name before.
Yep.
So you're gonna watch them through the weekend?
No, I get them for like 4 hours every
Really?
Monday, like 3 days of the week, every other Saturday sometimes.
Oh,
Fun world.
yeah.
All the girls have to do is tell a bad story about you, and you lose your rights. But
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, it's really sad.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
There is no free will. Free will is an illusion.
He's a wise man.
It's funny how people say they have free will, but then they get into trouble, and what do? They blame everybody else, you know?
Yep.
Well, it was my wife's fault. She didn't treat me right, or it was my husband's fault.
Yeah, I'm justified in doing this.
It's I don't get paid enough at work, so that's why I stole all those. Whatever.
Yeah, it really just shows they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, 90% of people, when you hear them say free will, they think that you mean like choice. They don't know the difference between will and free will, and because they haven't thought like at all about it.
You want water? What do you want?
Yeah. Well, that's all I've ever heard is that you can choose what you want to do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, until I met Ace, I thought, how could anyone ever believe not in free will? But then, the more even you remember Ace, I was like, what the hell? I was like, I literally one of the first questions I asked him is like, I don't think I might be able to get on board with everything, but I doubt I'm ever going to believe the free will thing. But it only took a few days to be like, I don't know about this anymore. Because when he started explaining it, like, I literally thought free will meant like choice, like having any choice. But I didn't understand the distinction between like having a
you
choice
don't understand.
and having
It's
a
like
free choice.
Yeah, it's not. It's like the ultimate power, though.
But the way people throw the term around, it's intentionally confusing, I think.
You know, it gives me a lot of peace knowing I don't have free will because I'm not responsible for everything, you know.
Right.
You know, I was thinking of little kids, you know, they say, I didn't ask to be born. And I say, God, I didn't ask to be born either, you know.
Yeah, there you go. Did Adam ask to be created?
Yeah, I know. And did Adam ask to have that tree put in the garden and gave me this wife? Now, what do you expect me to do? Sitting here in this garden all by myself?
Last time I checked, Adam was put to sleep, and then he suddenly had a wife. That's some bullshit. You remember he was put to sleep, and then they took out the side part, and then now I have a wife. Did he ask him?
They took out her parts.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, whatever. It's just I don't know what they pointed out. Maybe it's
that makes sense to
uterus. Me. It does make sense to me too. I was talking to the person I was talking to me the other day, Ace, his son, or about his son or what. I talked to him till like 2 a.m. after you left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or maybe even later. I don't know, but. Something like that, but he mentioned about Martin Zender, and he was like pointing out like one thing I disagree with him. He says is that uterus thing. I haven't thought about it, but we both could agree that at the very least, Martin Zender is more likely to be right than the rib idea.
Well, you know,
so it's such a small like whatever, and that was the point of we were pointing out. But like I would say I don't know what that side part is, but I would guess that would be it if I had to.
Well, you know,
if I had to put my money on one, dot, or number.
Well, you know what always bothered me about the scriptures, and it makes sense if she was in him, because it said God created them. and he had just created Adam. And I always wondered, what do you mean he created them? It's just him. But she was in him. So that, that makes sense to me. That when he pulled her out of him, I thought, okay, that rib thing. I always thought, what are you making such a big deal about a rib for?
It wasn't just the 2020 pronouns debates. Just kidding.
2020.
Them, he, they, and whatever.
What is that animal? My God, I've seen those before.
I don't know. It's cool looking though.
You think
Crab.
you think about this. The ocean has all these beautiful animals down there,
Yeah.
colors and all that kind of stuff. Now, what do they need all those colors for? Who's going to see them? But God made them beautiful.
Why not?
Well, no, I'm not.
No, I know, but I'm saying why not? They're cool looking.
Yeah, they are. And that all just came about with evolution, huh? These animals just colored themselves that way or something.
Yeah, it's just weird to think like, yeah, my hands, like, they're just random. Oh, my eyes, they're just random. It's all random. We also started talking about that for a second when you left, and we said, so what happened when Adam in the evolution chain, so-called, had to find Eve? Was he looking around like for another monkey or something that got evolved into a human too? Like what in the world? You see what I'm saying? Like, what the heck? If all the things that need us female to produce, how did they find it?
They can't explain
at the same time? Like, there's a random miscarriage turned into another animal or something, and then that miscarriage, and then somehow there was a female one too, or a male one too, or like what? This was weird. I don't know. Some weird theory. Potheads making that theory. Like, actually, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did Adam find Eve? In every animal's case. What the fuck is the explanation to that?
And then when they're asked that question, they say it's a stupid question.
How?
I think it's a smart question.
That seems like a really normal question. If we're gonna go off into imaginary land, let's bring it to imaginary land times 2, where suddenly you have to have this, different creature come out of this different creature twice in 2 different ways. This is weird. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It's just easier to believe God made it for me.
Oh,
Makes
shit.
more sense.
I don't know how anyone believes that shit, but God has put it in them. It's called the religion of randomness. Christianity is not that much different when you think about it. We were also talking about how people like worship these church fathers and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we put these so-called church fathers up against even the weakest Christians today, they would be a joke. Have you ever thought about that?
You mean in what they know, or
and in their books, like their writings are trash. They're only worshipped as like good writings because they're old. They're from an older time. But if you put these writings up against even some of the worst studiers of the word in today's time, you would still, I mean, I bet a King James onlyist could come up with more coherent knowledge than a lot of they did. In a lot of cases, like they're always talking back and forth between themselves, like they're contradicting themselves all the time. That's why we point out. I was thinking, like, I think the whole church fathers thing is just that. First of all, you would also have to interpret them. So why not just go to the source and interpret that, so-called? And then you bring it even further. It's like, why are they so interested in these people? And it's just obvious that it becomes an excuse every time you don't believe a verse. Well, let's see what this guy said. Let's see what... I mean, you know what Corin said? You can find a PhD that believes just about fucking anything in any subject on anything in contradicting subjects. And it's the same thing there. You don't get anywhere by finding people that agree with you.
Yeah. And then each church tends to have its own special church fathers, you know, people that
or quotes that they quote mine, you know.
Yeah.
Because let's just face it, anyone who's read any of that stuff knows it's a theme among them, double doctrine, they call it. Where they're constantly going back, like contradicting themselves, seemingly trying to appeal to just about everything. I don't know.
Well, I was in a confessional type of church for a while, and there's the Heidelberg Confession, and then there's Westminster.
No, but I mean the really early ones were really reckless.
Yeah. Well, but I'm just saying, if you ever read them, they
read them like they're like more authoritative than scripture.
Yeah, and they all have the same kind of questions and answers too, and so, or creeds, whatever.
Yep.
So,
what you need to believe to join our cult.
Yeah. Well,
and the funny thing is they talk about scripture alone, and then they read off those confessions.
Yeah. And if you're a preacher in those churches, you have to believe that stuff, or you have to at least preach it, or you're out. You know.
Yeah.
If you went going to preach in a Baptist church and you were preaching from Luther, I don't think they'd keep you very long.
They might in that case, but Baptists are kind of all over the board. It depends what you preach from him. Because Luther taught a lot of weird things. Like there's one quote where he says, you know how he hated Jews and all that?
Yeah.
There's one quote where he says, even if a Jew were to go and be water baptized and have zero faith whatsoever, he would still be saved. Which is, and it's not like in a universalist sense he's talking about. He's talking about like, this is his quote. He's all over the board. Because he was so, sewer salvation, as the Baptists call it, that he literally said you would need no faith as long as you just got water baptized in some of his quotes. So, the Mr. Faith alone is not very faith alone. Not that faith alone is the right doctrine anyway.
Well,
but it's just funny how people prop him up like they haven't even read any of the crap he's written.
Yeah, I haven't read everything, but I've read some of his stuff and but it was a time when they were kind of like groping for God type of thing, after coming out of the Catholic Church. If you've been, almost everybody was in the Catholic Church at that time.
Yeah, and you wonder if some of these quotes are, there's obviously, when you become that kind of figure that he was, you become like a idol to people, and then maybe there's like religious pressure on you that you can't, just say what you want to say. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he told the people he didn't want them to use his name in to name a church because that's what they wanted to do, and
they did it.
Yeah.
I thought that quote you said was hilarious when you went to a church and you said, so what do you think of Luther? And it's like, Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yeah. I was at Lutheran church. This was more laid back kind of Lutheran church.
Yeah.
They didn't have all the fancy colors and all that. It was actually kind of like a Baptist church.
Yeah.
The way they
I
preach.
mean, even a Baptist that wouldn't know that, it would be a little weird. Because it's like, I mean, it's not essential in any way, but it's like, where have you been? This is a big turning point in history for humanity. It's not that it was good or bad. That's not my point. It's just like that was a big deal in history, you know. But I guess they cloud it in like all the evolution and other weird shit. So I don't know.
Well, and the 95 thesis, that he nailed to the door.
Yeah.
We never talked about that. It was kind of weird. And I always wondered,
Yeah, but when you read it, it's not even like, it's not very good.
I mean, if you're going to use his name, shouldn't you know a little bit about what he was up to?
Yeah, they always talked about that, but they never mention all the crap in there that's wrong.
Yeah.
And there's 95 points, so there's knowing him is probably a lot. I haven't read it in a long time, but all I remember is seeing a lot of really bad points.
A lot of it had to do with
his hatred for Catholicism
and all the what is it when
indulgences.
Yeah, that was, I think, quite a number of them have to do with that.
Yeah,
thing. And
I don't know how anyone could fall for that shit. That's like crazy. I mean, I know they had no way of like looking further, maybe, but it's like even like surely they were suspicious. Like, okay, I give you my money, and you get me out of imaginary hell for my sibling. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What a vain god that would be.
And they would go after women whose children had just died.
Yeah.
They wanted them to,
That sounds like isn't that what the Pharisees did?
Yeah. Well, didn't Jesus talk about
something about
going after widows,
women and widows and stuff?
Yeah. Oh,
something
they would.
Like that.
Yeah. That
scam them.
Read a lot of books about them and stuff. So just the things they did to people. That's how they got so rich.
Yeah. We're still doing it. They're just less able to keep people in ignorance than they were then, I guess. But they're still playing that game. I mean, look at them. They're. I mean, it's like it's what. I mean, just look. It's like probably the richest denomination, right?
One of them, yeah, for sure.
I mean, it has all the bells and whistles and all that. And even the way they're all like set up, like is there ever a Catholic church that's just like a humble building? I've never seen a Catholic church that's just a humble building.
Well, if you go to areas where there are more poor people, but a lot of them,
but I'm talking about even the more poor versions are like, they're still not very like humble build. Like I'm talking about like they'll still have the statues and the glass and the you know what I mean? Like I'm talking about just a house or a building, a room, a few rooms. Like why does that never exist in that religion? Because it's all about all that stuff. Like, have you ever gone to a Catholic church and it wasn't like beautiful in its own way, even if it was a poorer area? Like I've been to the only Catholic church I think I've ever been to was in a very poor area, and it looked beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what they did? They did the Hail Marys. No one had a Bible except me. I was only there with my grandmother. They did the Hail Marys for a while. Some guy in a dress came up and wrote James chapter 2. And then they did the little cracker wafer and the wine, and then they left. That was literally it.
Did you go up to the altar to take communion there? Or how did they do it?
I don't know. I think they did, yeah, but I didn't do it because I didn't believe that Catholic bullshit. And I thought it was blasphemous. So basically, it's crucifying. They're saying they're crucifying Jesus again and again.
Yeah.
They literally say that it's his body and it's being crucified over. What in the world? Isn't that like Hebrews or something? Like it sounds like the book of Hebrews. You know, it's like crucifying the Son of God afresh and putting him to open shame or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. It sounds kind of like that in some kind
Well,
of way.
if you've
I don't know what it's.
there are some churches that still have him on the cross, and you know they have a cross with him still on it. He never got off of the cross. So
Yeah, I mean, I can excuse that because, but what that symbolizes is still wrong. I guess. Like, I guess if you look at it like as just an emblem, it's fine. But they're literally saying that the bread is Jesus. That's retarded. Like, I don't know how do you explain that to someone? That's ridiculous. That makes no sense. It's literally what they were doing in John 6. They were like, he says, drink my flesh and eat my blood, right? And they're literally reading that like the Jews did who dispersed. Oh, he wants us to eat his flesh. The hell? You can't understand a simple metaphor?
well, if you get people to believe really absurd things, think about how easy it is to get them to believe things that aren't quite as absurd, you know.
Why not just do a little scientific experiment? I don't know. Maybe does it taste like flesh to you, or does it taste like bread?
Yeah. How come it melts in your mouth?
Yeah.
Couldn't you have to
I don't know what kind of flesh you've been eating, but wait a minute, isn't cannibalism illegal?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Well, think about how hard it would be to get out of that if you've been in that for 20, 30, 40 years. And then let's say you did finally believe that in Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection, and you became a believer in the body of Christ. I bet it would be really hard to get that out of your head.
I don't know, because if it was me, I would be like angry that they were teaching hell and stuff.
Yeah, well,
it would be like a total flip. I don't know what's hard to get out of believing. Like, if you can realize that hell's a lie, you're already like in such a position to hate all of Christianity almost in their teaching. I mean, not the people. I mean the teaching of it, because like basically the whole Christianity just revolves around eternal punishment and threatening people and minimizing the cross and everything that goes with it. It's literally just boring. It's boring and it's childish and silly. Oh, you have time left, Dace. You have time left. It's not too late.
I've been told that before.
Yeah, it's not too late, Dace. Too late. What the fuck? I thought it was too late before Ionian times, Ace. Why would someone like Jill tell you that? Not too late.
I didn't know there was a time limit on Jesus' salvation for all.
Yeah, what's the one you were pointing out in Romans 5 will be saved in his life? And then we said, what if you put the word lifetime? And he has an eternity to live, so surely he can manage it.
These birds are kind of cool.
Yeah.
They have more sense than a lot of people, you know.
Oh yeah. Do you think they believe in eternal hell? Like 50% of humanity does somehow, or more. I don't think they believe in that shit.
No, they just
Isn't
die.
that scary?
Well, they just die and go in the grave like the rest of us. But
Yeah, they have so much common sense, don't they? Where is that in the Christians and Islam and all that? Oh, we're going off in our immortal souls to the underworld. The fuck? No common sense. Even the birds know that death is an enemy, Ace.
Yeah.
Even the snails know that death is an enemy. What's up with that? Snails, frogs, turkeys, chickens with their head cut off. They all know death's an enemy.
well, you know, since I've been living up in the country, the animals are generally scared of people. You know, maybe if you're around them a lot, but I mean, they probably know we can be dangerous to them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you know how cool it would be if have you ever met a bird that just lets you come up to it and pet it? I don't think so, unless if maybe it's a duck or something that you have bread in your hand. But even you can have like the nicest looking food in your hand, but a crow's too smart to trust you. You never ever noticed that?
Ravens and crows are two of the smartest birds.
Listen, all you have to do is take a salt shaker and put salt on their tail, and then they'll let you pet them.
Oh, yeah?
What is that? Oh, that's funny. Yeah, it would probably work.
Maybe sugar would work better. Then it'd be sweet.
Maybe I'll put some on my shoulder too while I'm at it. Give it a little extra bonus chance since they're so into chance, right? Oh, Ace, you're telling me they have a second chance? I don't see a second chance in Scripture, Ace.
They have the chance, Jesus, you know.
Chance.
He gives you lots of chances. And if you run out of chances, that's too late.
Oh my gosh.
We've got a very limited God.
Yeah, this is the offer God. The offer. That's Monty's God. He's called the offerer.
Because God's a gentleman type guy.
Yeah, he's a gentleman.
What does that mean? What does he do? He open the car door for you, or
Yeah.
you know, what are
You don't have to get out if you don't want to, Monty.
Tip his hat when you walk by? I don't know. What is this gentleman?
He's like a taxi cab driver. Then he's driving you to heaven, okay? But if you want to jump out the window, he's not going to stop you, Ace. He's not going to stop you from jumping out that window on the way to heaven. You get that, Ace?
Yeah.
He doesn't have locks on his doors. Or like Praise I Am said, when everyone's reconciled, it's going to be like everyone's reconciled, but some are reconciled while they're burning in the lake of fire. Ace.
I've heard that before. That's kind of crazy.
What the hell does that even mean?
I don't know, but I've heard.
So you're burning in hell. Reconciled to God?
He said this. He said, it's like if you're two tennis players. I'm literally quoting him.
Who said this?
Praise I Am, years ago or a year ago or something. he said it's like having two tennis players, and one tennis player has more authority than the other tennis player, or something like that. And you do something that offends that other tennis player. Now, you can reconcile with that other tennis player, but it doesn't mean he's going to let you go in his tennis court. That was his example, or something like that. What the fuck does that mean? I don't know, but in other words, it's going to burn in hell for all eternity, Ace. Amen. What kind of reconciliation is that?